Is he snitching on Jay-Z? We got to talk about that today. But yeah, man, like I said, man, a full lineup today. And I think a great place to start, Sam, man, is this Richard Pryor Jr. thing, man. Because we've been talking about that, covering that, over the last couple of months here, and it's looking bad for Paul Mooney, Sam, man.
Yeah, man, this is a crazy one. Now, I happened to stumble across this. I don't know how I stumbled across this. Let me find the actual brother. It's Laugh at First Sight. You guys can check that out in the description box and check that interview out in its entirety. But he had Richard Pryor Jr. on his platform talking about, obviously, the alleged incidences that we're hearing came out when he was younger. If you don't know, Richard Pryor's bodyguard did an interview with Comedy Hype, and he alluded to the fact that Paul Mooney molested young Richard Pryor Jr. when he was a child. And in fact, Richard Pryor Sr. found out and put a hit out on Paul Mooney. He addresses some of those things. It's a little bit of a lengthy, about 3 minutes long. So you guys can sit back and hear it out, and then we'll talk about it.
Your father's ex-bodyguard, Rashawn, wrote a book. And he said Paul didn't write for your father. Do you know if that is an accurate statement? Paul Mooney didn't write for your father.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always been on the impression that he did help write for my father, not on a regular basis. But I even think on the Richard Pryor show, Paul Mooney wrote on the Richard Pryor show, if my memory serves me correctly. So on some aspect, he did write for my father. It's not that he wrote everything. He didn't write all my father's material or anything like that. I'm sure he was a contributor.
Did your father have any other writers? Have you spoken to Rashawn
About what?
Any of the allegations he made?
Only the one allegation. That's about it. Of him, saying, he was sorry what he did as far as bringing that information out, but he said it's time for us to stand up for our children and speak what's wrong and what's happened. Yeah, but it wasn't your story to tell. That was pretty much mine. Thank you, but it wasn't your story to tell.
So he didn't consult you before?
No. I heard about it by somebody sending me a clip from the interview that he did.
Probably was me.
Yeah.
Because I called you.
I remember you.
I said, Richard, you don't believe this.
Yeah, it might have been you.
Yeah. So he didn't consult with you, but he did apologize.
Well, no, he apologized he just said, I do apologize for telling us or whatever, but, this is why I did what I did.
How did that affect you personally? Someone bringing up something that has nothing to do with them that's very...
It was horrible. What was horrible about it was that the fact that, again, you deal with victims being attacked. That's what was the horrible thing. You got people debating on what my age was, and I was an adult when this happened, and all these things that they wanted to say as far as how I was allowed something like that to happen because I was a dude, and I had to be an adult. And if it was, I was close to where I could consent to myself for myself and all that stuff. It was never like, come on now, this is wrong. This person did this and that's wrong, period.
There's been a lot of debate about the age that the alleged incident, you have to say, happened.
Right.
What was your age at that time?
I wasn't 18. It was before me being 18. I know that.
Before you were 18. Have you had any contact with the other party that was mentioned?
No, not at all.
Anybody from his camp, sons?
No. No, nothing at all.
Nothing since that time?
No.
And the bodyguard also mentioned in the interview that your father put a hit out.
Right.
Is there any validity to that, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no. There's really nothing I could say about that because I wasn't privy to that and I wasn't around for that, so I don't know as far as if that conversation actually took place. If it didn't take place, there's no way of me knowing at all, other than hearsay.
What would you like to say about the whole situation, to surmise it all?
That what happened in my life happened in my life. I've always been open book talking about things I've gone through. I may not name names directly, and then the people who have done something to me know who they are.
Was Rashawn lying about that situation?
You're really trying hard. Well, as I said before, I talk about my abuses, the things I've gone through, the things that's happened to me when I was younger, not of legal consent. Things that have happened to me, they've been out of the public's eye and in the public's eye. And the ones who have been mentioned and the ones who haven't been mentioned, they know who they are. That's all I can say. I'm not here to put anyone under a bus or whatever, but if somebody did something to me, they know exactly who they are. So I don't forget. I haven't forgotten. And they haven't forgotten either. Whether they ever admit it or not, that's up to them.
All right, oh God, that's straight from the horse's mouth, and you didn't get to see it. Now, we're going to show you, and for the people that want to watch this in its entirety, because it's about 15 minutes long, you heard a brief excerpt of that.
Yeah.
Had that link in the description box. But, oh God, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Man, that's, I'll take, start off with these two things. First of all, he didn't say who it was. He looked like he's trying to spare that person, but the two things that stick out the most to me is he said he definitely made it clear that he was under 18 at the time, meaning he was, most states is under a minor, we could say that. And then he, pretty much said like something happened. They know who they are. And the person that's being accused of this is assaulting this young man, Paul Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, when this went down the first time, we seen that Paul Mooney really didn't say anything, but the first course of action that he took, he canceled shows. He couldn't stand in front of people anymore. And it almost seemed like when he did that, not to say that, it could affect people in different ways if that allegation came out, but it showed, for me, it showed like he possibly could be some type of guilt, or he could be dealing with something because he didn't want to go face these people and face these allegations head on at the time as soon as they were fresh. So that, along with the silence, he didn't say like, if somebody makes that, claim, you coming out the next second like, nah, this is not true, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not mistaken, he had his son saying a few things for him, and whatnot, but he never actually came out, to my knowledge, and put out an official statement and denied this. And you have Richard Pryor's son saying like, yeah, people know, they know who they were, they did it, and they got to live with that and whatnot. But for whatever reason, he's still holding this loyalty to that person. Just come out and put him on blast at this point because you were underage and you were assaulted by this person. You know what I mean? And a lot of people now are, saying that that person is Paul Mooney, allegedly.
Yeah, they
you think it was Paul Mooney's head, man?
Do I think it was Paul Mooney?
You think he did that?
I don't know, but I'm sitting here watching, dude. And for the people that are watching, they looking at expressions, and it looks like he wants to scream that Paul Mooney did it.
Woo!
I can just go off of his reaction. I wasn't there. I don't know. But based off of his reaction, his response to whether or not Paul Mooney did it is hell yeah, he did it. So then it goes, and it's a lot of layers to this because yeah, under 18 is definitely molestation, but 17, 8, 16.
Right.
It's still wrong. I'm not justifying anything, but a man or a woman knows what they want and knows their preference and what they want.
Mm.
I think that's pretty clear by 15, 16, 17 years old. Not trying to be insensitive. So I'm interested to know whether or not there was kind of a relationship involved.
Whoa.
And I'm not justifying anything, and because he was underage,
right?
Now we know this is deemed wrong, but he wanted this to go down.
Here's what people are gonna say, saying, man, and when the age thing comes up like that, when you have somebody that could be slightly under 18, whether it be 15 to 18 or 15 to 17, they're going to say like the manipulation factor that's dealt.
Mm-hmm.
They're smarter. They're, more intelligent. So they were able to manipulate or coerce this person into doing it. And I'll say it's a little, they can, have a lot of influence. But at the end of the day, I would have to draw the line in the sand and say, when I was of age, this age, and and even we admitted this behind the scenes that we knew what we wanted, and it wasn't men, it was women. You know what I mean? So it was just like some responsibility has to be put. And again, if he was underage and he was assaulted like that, it's wrong. It's definitely wrong. But there is some accountability that has to come in, because it's like at 15, 16, 14, even 13, even 12, ain't no dude touching me, ain't no dude putting nothing in me. I want women, period.
Yeah,
period. This is what it is.
And people know, and I don't want people hearing my response and thinking, because I'm a Paul Mooney fan, I can't even lie, but I don't justify him doing anything dishonorable to a child.
Not at all.
And that drawing the line is dishonorable to its finest, and there is no condoning that. I don't care how funny you are, how many specials you did, who you wrote for, or whatever. There's no justifying that. And if in fact he is guilty of this, there would be no justifying it. You'd be wrong, dead wrong, and you lose a fan, because I can't ride with that. But his sons came out, said he was sick. This is why he hasn't responded. He's been ill. We see him active on his Twitter. He even responded to us a couple months ago, maybe possibly doing an interview. I responded back. Representation was his son, so I don't know which son I was speaking to, but that never went through. Haven't really heard him publicly say anything and seen him say anything in quite some time, even prior to this. So I don't know if in fact he is sick. I was hearing a lot of rumors that he's sick, so who knows if that's the case, or if it's a case of guilt. And now he knows that everything's kind of coming down on him, and I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. I know Richard Pryor Jr. I don't know how to. I don't want to place guilt on this brother. I don't.
But is there any chance in your mind that it is not Paul Mooney? It could be somebody else, or do you think? Are you putting it like, all right, it has to be him? He just don't want to say it.
I'll put it to you like this: looking at his face, it's Paul Mooney and somebody else. But Paul Mooney is definitely. He said it. What did he say? He was like, the people who were named and the people who weren't. They know who they are. I only heard one name being mentioned, and that was Paul Mooney. When he talked about the bodyguard, I keep forgetting the brother's name right now. Y'all gotta excuse me for that. He talked about being upset at the fact that he told his story, and that his story was told without his consent, not the fact that he was lying. I listened to the entire interview to make sure I heard word for word anything asked about this particular situation, how it was answered. And I made sure we played it here to keep it objective.
Right.
And anytime he was asked about this situation in particular, he did not say Paul Mooney didn't do it. He, in fact, ran around that, and outside of mentioning his name, he said, yeah, he did do it.
Yeah, and obviously that's a great point, because it's like somebody's accusing, this was your dad, they were friends and whatnot, and somebody's saying, everybody's running with this narrative that he did this to you. You would expect the first thing, you'd be like, nah, he didn't do nothing, not Paul. He didn't say that.
Nah, a lot.
Yeah.
He made sure he didn't say that. Something happened. I don't know.
Yeah, so, we shall continue to see, as this story develops right now. It's crazy, though, man. Definitely.
It's crazy. We'll talk more behind the scenes, because I got more to say, but it's way too raw for this.
Yeah, even for the podcast.
It's too raw.
Definitely, I feel you. But yeah, man, you tune into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with your brother, Oh God, and Sam Matt. Now, I was sitting here earlier, and I seen an article that came across my screen saying,